I, female 33, am a nurse. I have a very busy schedule. It's been absolutely crazy the past couple of years. My husband, 36, works an office job, and because he's a family-oriented guy, he always hangs out with his family. His family lives on a ranch in the middle of literally nowhere. Going there is a hassle, and due to my work nature, I don't go to most of their functions. I do, however, make sure to attend the big ones. Last week, his family wanted to host a barbecue party. He wanted me to go with him badly since all his brothers were bringing their wives, and since they mocked him for coming alone in the past. I said sorry, but I had a shift to cover. He begged, suggested I swap shifts with other nurses who are my friends, and even called them all to beg them to cover for me. Finally, I grew irritated and told him to stop it. He sulked for a whole day, then dropped it. In the morning and hours before my shift, I discovered that my car's tires were out of air. My husband offered to drive me to the hospital at 4 p.m. and I agreed. I got ready and we got in the car, but instead of taking me to the hospital, he drove me straight to his family's ranch. I was dumbfounded and angry after he said he tricked me into attending this barbecue and that I had to suck it up and set this shift out. I was so mad I didn't know what to say. We got to the ranch and I sat outside fuming. I waited and saw I still had time to get to the hospital if I figured out a way to get there. I watched my husband go inside, leaving his keychain next to me, right where he was sitting. I took it and rushed to the back where all the cars were parked, got into the car and drove off. His dad saw me and told him. He started calling my phone relentlessly until I turned it off. I got to the hospital in time but didn't dare turn my phone on till it was past 8 p.m. I opened it and saw tons of angry messages from him criticizing me, calling me horrible and a manipulator. I got on the phone with him and he yelled about the awful stunt I pulled, bailing from the party and making him look bad in front of his family. He then calmed down and said that he now knows that work is more important to me and that he won't ever trust me after basically stealing his car and running with it. We've been on terrible terms since then. His family is also mad, but I haven't spoken to them about it or calcified anything. So, am I the idiot for what I did? I was desperate and worried that messing up my shift might cost me my job. Not the idiot. You do know that he was the one that messed with your tires, right? And I'm sorry, he called you manipulative? The person that lied to your face to get you to do what he wanted. On top of this, he prioritizes his leisure time over your career. Don't you dare apologize to him. Feel free to leave him. Some questions remain, though. You said his family lives far away and he tricked you into driving there, so you must have known you weren't going to the hospital pretty quickly, right? Why didn't you get out of the car? Also, your husband and his family have some issues, but it sounds like you are avoiding them. Maybe with good reason. Either way, it sounds like those reasons may not be out on the table, and you should probably have talked to your husband about them. Still, your husband just escalated any reasons to hate him and his family to 11, so not sure your relationship will recover from his abuse of trust, not because you took the car, but because he was selfish and manipulative. What was she supposed to do, jump out of the moving car? OP, you grabbed his keys and ran because you knew if he saw you try to leave, he wouldn't let you go. Your husband and his family are horrible for even attempting that. It would be best if you didn't stay in this relationship. Your husband has serious control issues. Nursing is an extremely important, challenging, and exhausting job. You committed to being there, and he doesn't understand the importance of keeping commitments. You absolutely need to have a work-life balance, but a barbecue is not important enough to miss a shift, especially with no notice. Yes, he didn't just risk OP's job and professional reputation, he risked lives by leaving a hospital short-staffed in the middle of an extensive and ongoing public health crisis. And for what? To stop his brothers from teasing him, or to prove to OP that he's in control of where she goes and what she does? This is an appalling situation. My 30 male girlfriend, Laura, 39 female, and I went to my parents' place for a family gathering yesterday night. My parents have weird, backward, traditional views that women are wives and mothers before anything else, so girls in my family were taught to dress modestly and focus their energies on becoming a good wife to attract a respectable man. Laura is a senior doctor. She's practically the polar opposite of my parents' worldview. She's pregnant at the moment and has made very clear she intends to go back to work as soon as the baby comes and wants me to stay with the kid, which I don't mind doing as she makes much more money than me, but we haven't told my parents this, of course. She always dresses elegantly, has her hair and makeup done to perfection, and lives in heels. My parents have repeatedly voiced their disapproval of her clothes and lifestyle and that she's older than me, when the opposite is true for everyone else in the family. Now that the pregnancy has been announced, I warn Laura that there will be much more focus on us, especially as we're not planning to marry just yet, which they already disapprove of. Normally, at our family gatherings, the women stay in the kitchen, helping prepare the food, lay out the table and clean up after everything is done, while the men hang out in the front room. Laura has understandably never taken part in this tradition and prefers to stay near me. However, I asked if she would play along this time. Everyone is going to be talking about the pregnancy and someone is going to mention the fact that we aren't married. I feel like pushing the boundaries any further will cause a scene that nobody wants. Laura agreed and did the kitchen routine through gritted teeth. However, she was enraged when we got in the car to go home. She said she isn't a damn waitress and said I have another thing coming if I expect that from her in the future. I wasn't sure what to say to her. I took no pleasure in seeing her participating in my family's weird traditions. It was just something to prevent them from questioning her choices and lifestyle and how she chose to live out her pregnancy. It was to protect her. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. I'm doing it to protect her. She can do that alone. If she cared about your family's traditions, she'd be complying with them. She clearly doesn't and doesn't care what they think about that. Who cares what they think or what they say? Clearly, you're the only one out of the two of you who does. Otherwise, you'd be backing her up instead of asking her to bend to them. You better give her so many apologies. This wasn't protecting her from OP's parents. It was protecting OP from having to stand up to his parents about how they treated her. Someone who puts in the time and effort to become a senior doctor shouldn't have to be treated as a cook because of their gender, let alone when pregnant. Why are you even tolerating this BS? Why aren't you standing up for the mother of your child? You don't want to rock the boat with your family. If that's the case, why bother with Laura and not stick to what your family expects? Why put her through that? If you have a daughter, will you expect her to conform to these idiotic, patriarchal and antiquated roles in front of her grandparents so they don't get upset? Grow up and get a backbone. If you want Laura, stand up for her. If your family doesn't like it, it's their problem. OP will be the type to have a first son party or cry physically to his mom and dad when a female is born. I can only imagine the crappy comments and inappropriate questions she must endure while cooking and cleaning the kitchen with all those women who disapprove of who she is. That meal had to be torture for her. I'll preface this by saying that I, female 34, lost my late husband years ago to cancer. I have a young son named Joseph. I met my now husband, Tim, 37, 2 years ago and married recently. Tim loves Joseph and considers him his own, and he's shown that many times. So we don't normally have any issues except for this. Tim started a habit of calling my son a nickname, Joey. My problem with this nickname is that it was used by my late husband for Joseph and it's kind of special to him. I asked him not to use this particular nickname and he at first fought me off about it, then came round and stopped doing it. Days ago, I hosted dinner with my late husband's family. They visit regularly. We sat down for dinner and suddenly Tim said, "Hey Joey, could you pass me this plate please?" The whole room went quiet. I got all sorts of dirty looks from my late husband's family because they knew he exclusively used this nickname. I looked at Tim and then lashed out at him loudly and in front of everyone, telling him that what he did was not okay and was a major overstep. He seemed shocked and said that he really wasn't paying attention and it was a slip-up. I responded that I'd already warned him about it 1,000,000 times, yet he chose to ignore it. He was red in the face. Finally, he got up, excused himself to the bathroom, and stayed there. After the guests left, he started arguing that I embarrassed him, hurt his feelings, and went too far to scold him publicly over a slip-up. I said that I'd already told him about how my late husband's family and I felt about this, but he said that we should get over ourselves, especially since Joseph doesn't care. We argued some more, then he and I stopped talking to each other. You are the idiot. It's a nickname. It's super common for Joseph. It's ridiculous to say no one else is ever allowed to call him a super common nickname. I get that you lost your husband. Unfortunately, his family lost him as well. But it's been years. Are you and his family going to lose it every time you hear someone refer to your son as Joey? OP, you are the one who brought attention to Joey's nickname by blasting him at a family meal. Joey is not a patented or exclusive name. Yes, it is special to you. Your son is very young, and you've found someone who adores your child. Isn't that enough? What you're making your new husband hyper-aware of is that anything he utters will upset you, set you off, claim a memory as sacred, and perhaps push him away. Now that would hurt your son Joseph, because a bond has been formed. If your son is okay with it, then it's no one else's place to have an issue with it. That's including you. I get you and your departed husband's family want to hold on to his memory for your son. Still, realistically, your husband is the only father he's really going to know, and by letting your dead husband's family insert their wishes like this, the only person you're hurting is your son. Yeah, you've not mentioned if this is an issue for your son or not once. It seems to be about you and your dead husband's family gatekeeping, a very common nickname. This is much deeper than a nickname. I wish you luck figuring this out, though. I, 33 female, just got engaged to my boyfriend, now fiancé, 33 of 4 years. My stepsister, 35, stepmother's daughter, is on the slower side mentally, but I don't know exactly what her diagnosis is because her stepmother, my dad's wife, is in denial about it all while cuddling her at the same time. My stepsister isn't dangerous, but she can behave awkwardly and inappropriately and just makes people uncomfortable. She's always had a crush on my boyfriend, now fiancé, and has gotten angry whenever we acted like a normal couple. She cries and throws tantrums for hours over it, so we've been in low contact with my father. I called my dad to let him know we got engaged. He wants me to hide it for a while, to not tell anyone at the 4th of July party we were supposed to go to this weekend, not to put it on social media, and to come to the party without my ring until my stepsister can get used to it, after my dad gently breaks it to her. And he said not to act too close with him at the party. Mind you, we've never done inappropriate PDAs, we just acted like a normal couple. I asked him how long he expected us to keep up this charade, and he said in a very annoyed tone, "I don't know, just give us time to break it to her." And I told him under these conditions that we would be declining the invitation to the party and all other family events until we're allowed to act like a normal couple, and I absolutely will not hide it on my social media. I'll put it up like any other newly engaged couple and let the chips fall where they may. And I said if he's not going to be 100% supportive of my engagement and marriage, then he doesn't need to come to my wedding. I'm not going to disrespect my fiancé by acting ashamed of him in public. And I told him for us to resume contact, he needs to be publicly supportive of my relationship, not just secretly or under the radar. My stepmother picked up the other line and joined us on the phone. She said I'm being selfish, that I know how hard my stepsister has it, that she'll never have what I do, and I should be understanding and considerate. And my dad basically agreed with her. Although it's none of my business, my stepmom clearly wears the pants in the relationship and my dad will always acquiesce to her. I told them that since they're ashamed of us, that they will never have to worry about justifying our existence to anyone ever again because we will not be coming around, and they will not be invited to my wedding unless they have an attitude makeover, let me act like any other normal couple, and are 100% supportive of my upcoming marriage, and hung up. My dad's side of the family says I'm being insensitive, that my stepsister has it really hard and will never have what I have and that I need to be gentle with her. I told them if they wanted to handle her with kid gloves, that's their prerogative, but I'm not going to. I'm going to live my life and they have no right to tell me what I can and can't put on my social media. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot at all. So she's in denial about her clear mental instability and won't treat her or even acknowledge it, but expects you to change your life and your excitement so they don't have to deal with the consequences of not getting her help. I'm surprised they never asked you to give your boyfriend to your stepsister. How much do you want to bet after stepsis is told they'll be, make her your maid of honor, let her wear a wedding dress too, she'll never have a real wedding so give her half of yours, blah blah. They are being unfair to you and your stepsister. Everything about their behavior is disgusting. If her issues are so severe, you must act as your partner is strange to prevent hours-long tantrums. She needs serious intervention. She's 35, not 5. What happens when the wedding comes? Do the bride and groom have to stand on opposite sides of the room? No dancing? No kissing? No mention of love? No pictures on social media or framed on the wall? I can only imagine if you and your fiancé decide to have kids. Your dad and stepmom would probably require the same. Don't talk about it, hide your bump, no photos, no baby shower. They should have set clear boundaries 4 years ago when OP started dating the boyfriend. Unfortunately, by allowing stepsister to continue with this behavior, it's likely become routine and habit forming. OP, you have set excellent boundaries with your father and stepmother. Do not let family guilt you. The family says she will never have what OP has, and why is that? Not because stepsister is incapable of it, but because her stepdad and mom have taught her learned helplessness, encouraged poor social skills, and have neglected her social and emotional learning. I, 24 female, recently had my wedding on the beach of a beautiful hotel in Cancun. Many of my friends and family came, so I was very happy. The only problem was, during our ceremony, there were people on the sea playing or doing jet ski activities. It really bothered me because they would appear in the background, so I told my wedding planner about it. She was very understanding and said she would fix it. When she talked to the owners of the activities and to the people in that area of the sea, we expected them to be kind and nice, but they just declined and continued. I even took the time to go myself and asked them to stop, but they didn't care. I was about to go and tell someone from the hotel, but my now husband stopped me and said it would be an idiot thing to do. So I told him standing up for myself wasn't an idiot thing to do and went looking for the hotel staff, but they said there was nothing they could do. When I returned, my husband was moody, and I wondered if it really was an idiot thing to do. Ha ha ha. You are the idiot. An entire ocean and beach must be closed because you're getting married, LOL. Did you offer to compensate those who would need to close their seasonal businesses after 2 very hard years? You apparently haven't heard of photo editing. How dare people go out in public on your special day? You're the bride. Poor you. It's her princess day and everyone must do as she says. That's the rule. Your husband also isn't appreciating how special you are. You should divorce him immediately. OP, you are the idiot and your husband was moody upon your return because he was second-guessing his marriage. He must be deeply embarrassed by her on his big day. Ha ha, poor guy. Like, if you don't want strangers in your pics, don't get married in a public area. Imagine feeling so entitled that you expect everyone to stop the vacation activities they paid for to not accidentally be in the background of someone's photos. No one cares about your wedding. You are the idiot and entitled beyond measure.